You are now listening to Back-to-Back Hip Hop. You are now listening to Back-to-Back Hip Hop.
What's up, everybody? I'm Andy Alessio, and welcome to the latest edition of the Back-to-Back Hip Hop Podcast. On Skype with me is Texas artist Maxwell. So, Max, how you doing?
Skirt. We're good. How are we doing over there?
Dude, that was such a sick intro. I couldn't ask for anyone to do a better skirt than that.
Hell yeah. That's the goal, right?
Dude, of course. Now let's get right into it. So, one of my favorite tweets of yours, this happened yesterday, so I was pumped about the timely manner, is when you tweeted, I want to be the voice for the kids who didn't realize that their voice even mattered.
Yep.
So, at what point in your life, or from what experiences, did you finally realize that your voice in particular mattered?
Man, dude, that's a good question to start it off. Man, I mean, it kind of is one of those things that I just, as I've been trying to find myself, you know, and as I've been trying to just find myself as an artist, as a person, just kind of in sync with everything, I kind of have been just going through like a lot of different like trials and tribulations, I guess, just, you know, like with experiences I've been doing, and like kind of just ultimately was once I realized that like music in the music that I make is not just something that I'm using as it's not just something I'm using as like a way to express myself because it sounds tight, you know, or like it's not something that I'm using to, or I mean, obviously it is that, but it's not, you know, it's not just, you know, like an outlet, I guess, you know, and it's like, I kind of just started realizing what music meant to me. You know what I'm saying? Like how much music spoke to me, like when I was listening to it as like a big fan, like through high school and stuff. And then once I just started realizing that, like, man, if I'm just like kind of honest and like real about what I say in my music and just in my life, it's like that shit really does matter, because you never know what other people are going through. You know, it's like people go through so much shit, and it's one of those things that sometimes we aren't always able to like put it into words, you know, and just being kind of like a writer myself, you know, being like an artist. It's like once I was able to be like, yeah, you know, I am an artist and I am doing this. This is what I want to do. Was kind of when I was able to realize, like, you know, all of our voices matter, bro. Like every single one. And that's kind of like what I was saying. Like, you don't always know it does or know when it's going to, but they all do, you know? So it kind of just was me taking myself, I guess, as serious as I'm taking myself now. You know, once I really kind of realized my potential and just the potential of just fucking words in general.
When you finally realize the potential within yourself, not only as an artist, but as a person, and then combine that with being honest about yourself in your music, like your credibility is instantly there as both a person and an artist. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Appreciate that, man. Like that's the goal. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the always been kind of like the main thing with me. You know, it's like I didn't, you know, we got some people that I guess, you know, everyone kind of goes through their shit, you know, and it was hard for me because, you know, going to like, you know, kind of like a school where a rapper is like the last thing that someone's going to be. It's like, you realize that like, wow, it's easy to kind of like try to fake it or like want to fake it and shit, you know? So it's like, yeah, man, I don't know. That's the main goal though. It's to kind of make everything kind of align with each other, because that's how it's supposed to be. You know, it's like if you're going to do something, you're going to do it full time. It's like if you're a doctor, bro, like if you're a brain surgeon, you're not going to be like a brain surgeon in there and then like a fucking just always slacking, I guess, in the regular life. You know, I feel like your like calling is going to kind of line up with how you are as a person.
Now, I know that your main goal is that you're not going to stop until we all feel understood. So, I mean, at this moment, do you feel misunderstood?
That's a good question. I feel like myself, I'm starting to know myself so well that I'm starting to be understood. Like I'm starting to find out how to word myself to be understood. I'm not trying to make this super fucking confusing, but I feel like I'm currently on the way to being understood. But like it's not like, you know, you look at me and it's like, oh, you know, Maxwell's fucking, he's, you know, this guy and that guy, and then you talk to me and it's like, oh no, I'm misunderstood, you know, you guys just don't get it. Because it's not anything like that. It's just kind of more like, you know, people aren't always going to know. It kind of just goes back to even like what you were saying about like wanting to be that voice. It's kind of just like people are always gonna have their assumptions and kind of like their thoughts and stuff. It's not something that is gonna necessarily like define you, I guess. I don't know, man. I'm trying to explain myself in a way that makes the most sense, because I don't necessarily think I'm misunderstood, but I feel like when it comes like to my inner being, like myself, I still haven't figured out how to 100% make it. You know, I think it's just kind of all about like the opening people's minds to like the perception that they're seeing or hearing everything with.
Dude, and I feel like too, when you say that you're finally on the way to, you know, really understanding yourself, I mean, I feel like that's the whole purpose of life, and that's such a long-term process, and it almost takes eternity for us to finally do that.
Oh, dude, I mean, it's huge because we're always changing, dude. We're always adapting to whatever's thrown at us, you know? So it's like you may think, you know, one thing about yourself, and then all of a sudden let's say you meet just a person, like in general, it could be a friend or anything, business partner, whatever it may be. And you meet someone and let's say they have like a little bit of a different even view or like a different look, you know, you may look at yourself and be like, hold up, you know, like, do I still think that? And, you know, I feel like sometimes it's like people want to like get super locked into something and not like allow themselves to kind of change just as life goes. Cause just like you said, dude, that's a really good way to put it. It's something you kind of learn as life goes on. I think it's the deepest part about it is kind of just being able to find out how you adapt with it personally, you know, like how you adapt with your change. I feel like once you figure that out, that's kind of the ultimate, like knowing, you know, like knowing how you're going to react or knowing how you need to do this or do that.
So how have you adapted to that in your own life through your daily interactions?
That's also a really good one. I mean, kind of just going from the Midwest into moving down to Texas about a little bit over a year ago. That really kind of helped because, like I said, I kind of touched on going to a school that just wasn't about like hip hop music. It's not that like they didn't like it, because, you know, shout out to people that were showing love definitely when I was in high school and stuff. But it wasn't just a really cultured city. So like I would be, you know, Max. I would be me. Everyone knew Max. Everyone knew, you know, I'm kind of weird, whatever it may be, goofy, whatever it may be. But they didn't like know the full me because I wasn't even comfortable with showing it yet. You know, I didn't even know it yet, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't really do it. So I mean, when I moved here, for one, it was in Austin too. So, you know, I had kind of my perception of the city already being a super open-minded city and stuff. But that really kind of helped me kind of look at everything and be like, man, I not that I'm going to change anything about myself, but like I can be whoever I want. So I'm just going to really go down there and just do whatever I want to, you know, and just be who I am 100% without any underlying, you know, things telling me not to. Because it wasn't even back in, you know, in the Midwest. It wasn't even like I'm sitting there like, oh, I need to do this, you know, or I need to stay away from that. But it was, you know, it was just me kind of having almost like that little gate or that little fence, just kind of sitting there saying like, hey, you know, you're a fucking weirdo, you know, if you do that, or if you, I don't know, man, it kind of just, that's just what I do though. Like moving down here was a huge piece of it because it just put me in front of people I've never seen before. And then like immediately after getting here, I was able to start kind of, you know, people notice that. People notice the energy, you know, and that's kind of just what I try to do on a daily basis. I try to just keep my energy like in a place where it can be adapted to, you know, like I feel like things come up all the time. So I mean, that's just kind of what I'm doing, man. I try to really live like in the moment, you know. I try to, as cliche as that, you know, can kind of sound, my way of doing kind of like what you asked is like, yeah, it's just kind of like living and not taking anything for granted, for one, you know, and just not really taking anything too internal, you know, and just kind of like letting everything go, and whatever happens kind of happens. Obviously you want to do what you can to influence everything, but I don't know. I kind of just, that's it though. I really just live like, I try to focus on right now.
I love the fact that you embrace your weirdness, because I embrace my nerdness. So like that works out perfectly.
Oh yeah, exactly, man.
But I feel like the move to Austin for you was such a good idea too, because I know that you're a firm believer of surrounding yourself with people you're inspired by, and clearly the people you've met since moving to Austin has done that for you.
Oh man, yeah, like that. That's huge. That's actually huge you touched on that, because that's something that has always been kind of nailed into my head too. Like always by my mom. It's always like her exact phrase was, "You are who you're around," you know, and like that really didn't mean too much to me, when I was growing up, just a little kid and shit. Like, okay, yeah, I get you, mom. Like, if my friend gets in trouble, I get in trouble, whatever it is, right? So it's like, I started to realize in Indiana, I am around people. Obviously, like, I have friends, like I was around friends, I was around my homies and everything like that. And shout out to everybody that's probably going to be listening to this too, because I know they'll be hearing. And then, like, I had all my homies and stuff, but my homies were all athletes. I hung out with like a lot of lacrosse players in high school and shit. Weirdly enough, I don't even know why, but like a lot of my friends were athletes, and like, at the beginning, I was like, I had this vision, to make this music. I wanted to really make it happen, but none of my friends wanted to really do that. Like, I remember a specific time where I was trying to convince one of my homies, because my mom's a photographer, so she always had a bunch of different like DSLR cameras and shit. And I remember she had one that did video too. I was like, yo, my mom let me borrow her camera, dude. Come pick me up and let's try to shoot a video. And we were trying to shoot a video, and like, in my head, I had everything. I'm not like a director or anything, but I had everything all planned out. I knew exactly how I wanted him to do it and stuff. And then we're sitting there doing it, and it didn't work out. Like, I don't even think we got anything recorded, because it was just not, he didn't want to do it, and it wasn't anything I could hold against him for it, but that just wasn't what he wanted to do. And that really, kind of at that point, really made me realize, like, if I'm trying to do this, I have to be around people who are going to, kind of want to do, not necessarily the same thing, but, you got to have like the same sort of drive and focus, I feel like, towards the same type of things, because if you're someone trying to be, an independent like artist amongst a lot of people who are going to school to be a doc, or to be a lawyer, it's definitely good to have, those people around you, but it can kind of be weird, because it can just make you, like I was saying, it can make you, kind of second guess and kind of look at everything like, a deeper thought than really is even needed. So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge person to stand for. You are kind of who you're around, and that's like the biggest influence. Because I mean, if you're always going to be doing what the people around you are doing, I feel like that term peer pressure, like they use in high school and middle school and stuff, that's something that I feel like, now that like I'm kind of talking about it, it's one of those things that, like, I don't think peer pressure itself is literally like in school. They tell you, what do they say? They were like, your friends will come up to you, oh, hey, you should smoke this weed, or hey, you should smoke this cigarette. Everyone cool is doing it. Like, I don't think, they were actually saying, or like they actually had examples or people saying like, oh, yeah, your friends are going to ask you this stuff. But it's more just literally like, if your friends are smoking weed, if your friends are drinking, if your friends are, popping pills, whatever they're doing, you may not do it. And that's dope if you don't do it. But chances are, like, eventually, if you just keep hanging around those people, or just anyone that's doing anything, you're going to start doing the same type of stuff. And I feel the same about like success, kind of like people successful in like chasing dreams and stuff like that.
I think that's so well said, first of all. But so the real question is, are you still inspired by someone like young Bambi, who still feels a type of way when you talk about yourself in third person?
Absolutely, yeah. Because, dude, it's dope. It's dope you brought up Bambi, because Bambi is like, that's like my little homie, bro. And we kind of met like low key, like right when I moved down here. He actually booked me to come perform at one of his house parties. That shit was fucking crazy. And that was my first time meeting him. That was really tight. And when he says stuff like that, I'm glad you brought that up, because honestly, it's kind of hard to explain, like, I'm super inspired by it, because I feel like no one knows why. And a lot of people really won't understand why, even when they start to kind of, like, put the pieces together and stuff. But it's something that I like to do sometimes, because sometimes that's just how I'd be feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's how I'm going to type a tweet, I feel like well, for one, it's Twitter, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, Twitter's such a cool place, because you can literally like say anything, and certain people may take certain things, or, look at certain things or think certain things just because of one little thing that could, not even really matter at all. Like, you could literally, you could have been like fucking, making breakfast or something and just decided to tweet some stupid shit. I don't know. But to get back to the question before I start rambling, yeah, man, like that does inspire me, because like I said, there's a reason I do that. Everything I do has a reason to it. I didn't name my project Think Too Much for no reason, so like everything has a reason behind it. And that definitely inspires me a lot, actually, because again, it's people like Bambi. See, he doesn't understand, because I haven't talked to him about that, because I don't even know if I want to, because I don't know if I need to, because it's all got a reason. And the people that, kind of going back to like even a couple minutes ago when you're talking about, like being misunderstood, it's not the misunderstood, but it's just like maybe not understanding fully yet, and it's like it'll all make sense though once kind of everything comes to light. Once I start dropping, more projects, once me and kind of Max Wells as a as an artist and just as a being kind of comes to light and is 100% portrayed how it needs to be, then everything will make sense.
Now let's talk that Think Too Much EP in particular, especially the cover.
Yeah.
Because on the cover, there's an empty medication bottle. Mm-hmm. There's traces of weed. So are those the substances or just substances in general that have helped lead you to realistically think too much?
Yeah, that's also it's interesting because the cover. So that project was really weird. Like it came together really strange how it did, and I'll get into that at maybe a different time. But like the cover in itself wasn't done until like I think a week before the project dropped, or it was like maybe a week or a little bit before. And the reason is because I was going through like a bunch of different things, and I wanted to portray like the best kind of image, and like I use those certain things because for one, obviously like I smoke a lot of weed. That's really like the only thing that I do is I just, well, not the only thing I do, you know what I'm saying? I don't really do any other drugs. I smoke a lot of weed, and like oftentimes it can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing, I mean, if we're going to be 100% honest, it's sometimes if you're having, let's say you have anxiety or whatever it may be, you're thinking about shit, and let's say you go smoke, there's a chance that it could make that shit, increase a little bit, could raise that heart rate a little bit, could make things go a little crazy. Those two things that I put on there are just really like the only things like I said that I do. Those are like the only vices. I'm actually prescribed Vyvanse. So that's what that pill bottle was. And I have like a super love-hate relationship with it because it really helps me like I've been prescribed this since I was in high school, and it really, does help me get shit done. But at the same time, like I hate the prescription, drug industry, and it makes me feel like shit sometimes, So like, just to round it off, yeah, man, those are the two things, like those right there are really the two things that do kind of inspire, the thinking too much and kind of leads to it, because I'll just really be in my head just for no reason, over analyzing every single thing, like really just of life, and those, I feel like, it may not be the sole thing. I feel like I'm kind of just built like that, but those definitely, they don't necessarily contribute to thinking too much, but it just kind of helps inspire it because it's like those are vices that I use to kind of get me to where I need to be.
Now, besides those vices, I feel like in some way or another, obviously not seeing your dad for over 4 years has played a role in overthinking too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other like even sector of it, like that's almost like it kind of comes down to, I don't know if I can necessarily be like, yeah, that's like, I'm thinking too much because of that. But at the same time, it's almost like because of maybe there being so many unanswered questions, it's almost like it kind of intensifies it, it kind of causes anxiety just as like a whole. So yeah, I definitely would say that had a big impact just on my life in general, man. That had a huge impact.
Well, what I like about you most, there's a lot of things I like about you first and foremost, but so when it comes to these vices, when it comes with that relationship with your dad, I mean, you recognize that our world is so fucked up, but despite that, you're determined as hell to bring more light into this place. I think of the world, think that can be synonymous with the mind in this sense, and yet you strive to find the light in every situation. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, again, man, this is the type of stuff that it leads back to just how I was kind of raised, My mom and dad were, they were pretty normal, pretty just normal, like suburban parents, but they were like the glow of everything, like every time we would walk in, to like let's say it was like a neighborhood party or something, right? It was always like, oh, it's like the decibels would reach up like 200. You know what I'm saying? Like every time it was just like, oh, it was just like they were like the light. And my mom always was just super positive. It was almost like kind of weird growing up, like, just going through high school shit that we all went through, and like certain things would happen, and then there would be things that would just like, I don't normally get mad. I guess that's kind of another thing that goes along with it. Like I don't really get mad, and like it's just because it was kind of just like, finding the light in every situation, like just my mom was a photographer, so she captured obviously a lot of pretty important moments. So it was almost like something I was able to tie in just with kind of literally how I lived. Like, it was like, okay, if I'm seeing the light and everything, it's almost like I'm capturing like every good moment. You know what I'm saying? Like all the positivity. It's like, oh, boom. Like as we're talking right now, you know, I'm watching these birds that were just like fucking bathing in this puddle together, playing and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, cool. That's, you know, that's like a thing of light. So I don't know. I mean, I think that just comes down to really my mom and my dad just really kind of being positive and just being one of those, you know, some of those people that they tried to just show us the positive. You know, they wouldn't try to, you know, put us around things that, you know, would really, not that it would really change anything, you know, but they just really tried to keep a lot of light in our lives. You know, they tried to make sure that we had a good outlook on life. That way, if anything happened, at least we got that outlook, you know?
When I think you exemplified that outlook just not last week when you tweeted about getting fired from your job and then ending that tweet with saying, now real life starts.
Yeah. That's a huge one too. Yeah. I mean, again, man, it's just, I really, you know, you could get mad, and I'm one of those people, I'm not a violent person at all. And I never have been. I've never liked like fighting or anything like that. I never liked, you know, if I would get mad, I wouldn't like hit stuff, you know? So it's like, it's weird, you know, like the fired from a job is a great example. You know, it probably was weird because I was smiling when I walked out of there and my boss was looking at me so fucking weird, you know, and I shook his hand and stuff. And I told him, you know, I appreciate, you know, everything, you know, as weird as this may be and as awkward as it may be for you right now. I was like, you know, I told him, I was like, everything I do, I feel like kind of shapes me as who I am. So, you know, I appreciate everything you've done, you know, and just walked out. So, I mean, it's, I don't know, man. I think that definitely is you know, another thing kind of, yeah, I just walked out of there just pretty positive, staying as positive as I can.
You are unbelievably level-headed, my friend.
I try to be, bro. I feel like that's like a very important thing just in this world right today.
Now, let's finally talk about the music on this project. Now, I hope you don't take this the wrong way.
Never.
But, so like when I listened to this EP this morning, one of the first thoughts that really stuck out to me was, whoa, this is a musical mess.
Really?
And that's solely because, and I'll explain why, because of the fact there is so much going on sonically, from the dark instrumentals to the infinite ad-libs. And I feel like all of this was strategically planned to represent the fuckery of your mind.
Man, yeah, you hit it right on the head. Yeah, that's actually really, really weird that you say that, because it's I'm one of those type of people that like, I like when I write a song, for instance, if you ask me, like, let's say I write a song, I record it, and let's say I would send you like a demo of it, right? Like right when I recorded it, I just bounce it out real quick, unmixed and everything. I would maybe send it to you, and then you would ask me, oh, what's that song about? And I'd be like, bro, I just kind of made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know. And it won't come to me until, you know, I'm in the right place, let's say, or let's say I'm smoking like the right blunt, whatever it is. And it comes back to me just as the actual story. Like I'm able to look at it from a different kind of perspective. And then boom, then I'm able to be like, no, that's why, like, that's where my head was. I wasn't able to explain it because I was kind of so focused on creating the song, but that all makes sense because now I, you know, pull up experiences and memories and stuff like that. But back to like what you were saying about the project. Yeah, that's how I think, you know, the way that was done is like, for my recent couple projects that I've made them, in studio. So I recorded like a lot of them at my house, but then I would go to the studio, with my producer and then, engineer, and I would record them again. Like I'd re-record them. But for this one, this was really like, when I first moved to Texas, I was living in a super small spot and I wasn't able to record that much. Like I was like, when I made like John Cena, I think when I made Hot Phone too, those ones that I dropped like last summer, you know, I wasn't recording like too much music. I moved into a new spot in September or October, and then I was really able to have like my own kind of home studio, because that's kind of how I normally, you know, did everything, was like kind of home studio, like recording myself, keeping like a bass mix on it, and then sending it off to an engineer. But this was the first time that I really was able to go in and have no one saying anything. You know, like I just literally would make what I wanted to make. and then I'd send it to my engineer who's located in Kansas. And then we would just put it together, and then it just kind of fell together. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it kind of was designed to do that. What I wanted to do was, I know it was only 5 tracks, including a skit on there. That's not much of a song, so really only 4 songs. But I feel like I really picked those for a reason. I picked all of those songs for a reason, because it kind of demonstrates a different element that you're gonna see as me being like a solidified artist. You know what I'm saying? Like I really just needed something I wanted to get something out to really kind of represent everything. And just like you said, it kind of like a musical mess and just all over the place. It kind of was, yeah, like something just I wouldn't say, I was going in there like, oh yeah, I need to, I'm going to put this ad lib here, and then I'm going to do it again over here, or I'm going to do this over here. Like I wasn't going like super, super deep into it, but ultimately when I designed it and kind of how I kind of made everything like fall through, it was to kind of portray everything, just like you said, like literally just to kind of show the fuckery going on in my mind.
Well, I think a really perfect example of that was on Act Like, because I think there was more ad-libs on that song than in any other, and like instantly, to me, it just represented all the voices in your head. Yeah,
that one, that's another weird one, because actually, I think that was the first song that I made for the project, and that one, I wasn't actually sure what I wanted to do with it yet. Like this was kind of as I was, finding what I was exactly going to be putting out. And with that one, if you notice, like a lot of my stuff is normally like kind of faster paced, faster tempo. And that one's definitely a slow one. I feel like the way that I tend to kind of ride on a lot of instrumentals, I like to fill it up as much as I can. And Act Like, that was a kind of an experimental one. And yeah, I mean, I definitely added a ton of ad-libs on that one. And now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's got like the most technicalities, I guess. It's like there's a lot of panning on it if you listen to headphones and shit. A lot of like in and outs, and yeah, it definitely, that one was the most like in my head. Like if I was to start talking about and kind of getting into depth about like the third person type deal, that would have been the most like kind of out of Max, like kind of looking around like, all right, this is kind of what the fuck's going on internally right now, like everything.
Now, when you do your ad-libs, do you really think that your neighbors think you're dying?
As of lately, yeah. I've been doing some crazy ones. I've been getting really crazy with the ad-libs, and I really didn't realize how much they could hear me until I was like a couple nights ago. I was sitting here because I normally when I was working, I was recording at just different times, and it was just kind of weird. So it wasn't always people home. But a couple nights ago, I was sitting there. There was like a couple evenings ago, and all of a sudden I realized, I was like, damn, I don't have any music playing, and I can hear like everything that they're saying, and I'll just be doing ad-libs sometimes in my room, and it's just like, who knows what they think I'm doing over there? They probably don't even have any idea I'm making music. I have no idea. I'm sure they think something, though.
Dude, I saw that and laughed instantly, so I had to address it.
Of course.
Now, so you retweeted something from Zoe Dollars that I love that says, sometimes the best bet is to stay by yourself. Give yourself some time to gather your mind and energy. That can take months, even years. But do you feel as a whole, that this project and Think Too Much has helped you do that?
I feel like it's helped get me on the right path. Because this music industry is crazy as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's almost like I don't even like really associating myself with it too much, because, or like, I guess, I mean, you have to look at it like literally, like obviously I'm associated with it. Like I'm a musician, but it's almost like, the internet is a bitch, I guess I will say. So the music wise, like finding myself and being happy with like the energy that I'm getting, it's like, I feel like that's something that, just like we'll talk about even the beginning of the conversation, it's something that's you're always going to have to adapt to. But I feel like what this did, or what the project did do, is like it made me realize that if I just be, is honest, or if I just really portray the energy that I'm feeling, and if I'm just doing, my first instinct, and just doing, what Max is supposed to do, what Max Wells is supposed to look like, and everything like that, then, the right people who need to see it will see it. The people who it affects in a positive way will be able to see it, So I feel like it definitely, like, it definitely helps me, I guess, confidently be able to like just make the stuff that I really want to make. I don't think, I think it'll be a while before myself or really any of us get to that energy. I feel like where we're really, really happy with, because I have so many goals and so many things I want to accomplish before I feel like I'll be content. Well, I mean, I'll never be content, but you know what I'm saying? Like before I'll be at that place where that energy can kind of be like rounded off and be kind of okay with. But I definitely think I'm getting to the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Like it really has helped get me to that spot.
Well, I mean, and recently too, you've said that your visions have finally felt hella clear.
Yeah.
And I feel that's through, this project, you've been able to have that clear vision finally.
Yeah, dude, I really have, because it's, I guess, like I said, it's kind of hard because you're looking at so many things just online, for example, right? And you got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got Facebook, Tumblr, whatever like you're looking at, and you can be influenced very easily, and then even again, we'll even go back to like being around the people who you want to be around. It's like us as people, like humans are so like inspired by things and influenced by things. So like, but I feel like before you really start to figure out your shit, you're just going to kind of keep going in a circle like that where you're going to be influenced. And it's not necessarily a bad thing to be influenced, but if everybody, if everybody's being influenced and not finding themselves, then that just brings a whole bunch of just one person. It's just like a bunch of people as one person.
What is that vision that's been revealed to you clearer than ever?
Be great. We got to be great. Like, just great. And that's however you want to take it at whatever you do. Greatness. Like, that is just it. It's like, I want, just like you said, there's a lot of people that kind of spread positivity, want to spread love, want to spread the peace. And that's obviously what I want to do, but like, I just really want everything to just be great. You know what I'm saying? I just want people to be great. Like, I just want us to be our greatest that we can. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is what we need to do. I feel like if everyone does that, why could we be mad? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to be worried about anything else, because if you're good at what you're good at and you're great at it, like that feels good. That's something that you did. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, right on, man. I respect that so much. So we're going to see the guidance visual up next for you in order to take that next step into being great?
Yes, sir. That's it. That's what's coming next. And that pretty much, that will, it's pretty cool. It's got like, I wouldn't say necessarily like a storyline to it necessarily, but it definitely will help kind of get my vision out there of wanting to just be the greatest that you can. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even on no like, I'm the greatest that's ever going to live this earth. It's nothing like that. It's not, any kind of arrogant movement or anything like that. It's just literally being the best that you can. And, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about, even you, man, like walking to the gas station, and there's the dude who's like, maybe he just opened his door to get out, but like you are opening the door already. And maybe you want to, stay back for 25 seconds and still hold that door. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's you being a great person. It's kind of just, yeah, I mean, it'll really just kind of help get that out. And that's next though. That'll be super soon. Super soon.
Dude, that's what's up, man. Let me tell you, you are on, just from a mindset standpoint, you are on the way to being great.
Appreciate it, bro. I think we all are. I mean, and I could say the exact same thing about yourself, man. I feel like literally it's something that, I don't want to, I don't want to be on here and be like, oh yeah, we all need to be great, and just be like, okay, so, you're not trying hard enough, so you need to try harder. You need to do better. Because it's not that. Because, dude, if you think you're great, if you're having fun and that's your great and that's great to you, then shit, that's great to you. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I could say the same about you, man. I feel like with hard work, if we're doing what we think we should be doing, then you're already there. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, for real, dude. I appreciate that big time. Dude, this conversation was dope, man. It was awesome. And I appreciate you big time.
For sure, man. I appreciate you calling. I feel like it's I'm never able to get too many opportunities to be able to, explain kind of just why I do things or kind of like my vision or anything. So I appreciate you being interested, bro.
Of course, man. How could I not be? Guys, follow Max on Twitter at Max_Wells_. Be sure to check out Think Too Much on SoundCloud as well. Follow Nick and I on SoundCloud, Twitter, and Instagram at Back to Back Hip Hop. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out.
Yeah, this one. artists when they've been saying shit, been talking, it just sound like this. It sound like that certain, that certain
type of shit.
Yes, sir.
That shit exactly what it brings.
Hey, some new shit, we know that.
Maxwell.
Smoke on some. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So moving around shit.
Ay, give me the guidance like that. Now I just turn on my back. Ay, I need my shit super fast. Street been breaking with the bag. Got a bag and coming back. Ay, so I didn't call this shit the trap. Got the function on my loud. Shooters hanging in the back. Ay, I need a sand to sleep. I've been up for 5 days. Barely slept in 2 weeks. I can't get my shit straight. Do it, make it look easy. Well, every days. I don't give them no seats. Pussy boy tryna be great. Ay, you don't got nothing to say, so you ain't influenced to change. Ay, I just been tryna be great. When you looking my way, just heard a knock at the door. First thing I check is my safe. Nobody left my way. Ay, I just been tryna be great. Knowing you coming my way, just heard a knock at my door. First thing I do is dismiss. Last thing I do is evade. I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance, no. I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance, no. I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance. I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance. I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance, no. Hey, while I be yelling my shit, you should be yelling the stands, no. Hey, I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance, no. Hey, while I be yelling my shit, you should be yelling the stands, no. I'm with the dwellers from the bottom of the lowest. If you ain't up, I got your back, I got you covered. Don't hit my line though, that's for shorty and my mother. I'm in this mind for every single one of my brothers, and that's real as fuck.
Moment awareness means thinking subsides, may not disappear completely, but something else arises that is primary.
I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance, no. I don't kill like I'm last, but I don't do it no chance, no. I don't kill like I'm last, run around do it no chance. I don't kill like I'm last, run around do it no chance. I don't kill like I'm last, run around do it no chance, no. Hey, while I be yelling my shit, you should be yelling the stands, no. Hey, I don't kill like I'm last, run around do it no chance, no. Hey, while I be yelling my shit, you should be yelling the stands, no. I'm with the dwellers from the bottom of the lowest. If you ain't up, I got your back, I got you covered. Don't hit my line, though, that's for shorty and my mother. I'm in this mind for every single one of my brothers, and that's real as fuck.